prayer, 21 days. Pastor Manuela shared about that just a minute ago, and we're about a third way through, and this is really a time of miracles, a time of reconnecting with God. There was a miracle yesterday. Did y'all see it? Buffalo Bills. Unbelievable. I think God is up to something. Revival is starting. I have never seen a more dominant. I hate the Patriots, and it just felt so good. It just felt so good to trounce those smug guys. Huh? Am I sinning? Oh, yeah. And what a quarterback. Wow. Yeah, just the facts, right? Let's close in prayer. That's all I have to say today. Way to go, Buffalo. And so in everything, Jehoshaphat followed the ways of his father Asa, who was also a good king, and did not stray for them. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. Let's see that again. He did what was right. Here evidently is a man of integrity who has followed the law of God, where the Holy Scripture describing him said that he did what was right and followed the ways of God his whole life. But then it goes on to say, it says, the high places, however, and this is a big however. This is a big however. God is commending Jehoshaphat. However, he says, but there was one thing that he lacked in his walk with me. However, the high places, however, were not removed. And the people continue to offer sacrifices and burn incense there. The idea here, we're going to talk about this today. Here is a good guy living a good life, following the ways of God to the best of his ability, and is completely blind to the fact that there are idols in the land that he has made peace with, may not recognize, is not resisting, and how it apply to our lives as you and I can be walking with God, loving God, serving God, and have these strongholds in our lives. These idols in our lives, that we are blinded to them. And when they are exposed, we justify them. The very first commandment, he says, is this: have no other gods before me, and have no brazen images of me. In other words, he's saying the first thing we have to take care of is we got to take care of idols. We have to let there be nothing above God. We cannot worship anything above Yahweh. And once Yahweh is first place in your life, all the other commandments fall into place easily. It says in 1 John chapter 5, verse 21, New Covenant, New Testament, John says this: little children, doesn't say keep yourself pure. He says, keep yourself from idols. The Bible tells us why this is so dangerous. It's because what you worship over time shapes what you believe and how you act and how you think. If I could really simplify that, you become like the thing or person you worship. Psalms 115:8 says this: those who make idols will be like them, and so will all who trust in them. Those who make idols will be like them. So what were idols in the Old Testament? They were stone images that could not speak, could not walk, could not hear. They were lifeless, and the writer is saying, If you worship stones, you're going to have a stony heart, and you're not going to be able to do anything in your life either. If you worship money, what's going to happen? If you worship money, your life is going to be two-dimensional, and your relationships will dry up. If you worship sexual gratification, you'll never be able to enter into a long-term healthy relationship. Whatever you worship eventually shapes the heart. That's why Christian worship is so important. This is what happens in worship. You are wired to worship. You can either worship the right person or you can worship the wrong things. It's your choice. But in the end, those wrong things are going to run over you. You can't help it. You say, Dan, I'm really not a worshiper. Yes, you are a worshiper. You think at the Bills game yesterday, that stadium, when they scored a touchdown, did anybody proclaim their love for the Bills? The whole stadium roared. And I could argue that's close to kind of an act of worship. It's not wrong to get excited, of course. Every person is wired to worship. Now, what is... He says to us today, if you make me number one. No, I'm not talking about getting saved. I'm talking about the order of loves in our heart. When He's number one in everything, He makes us some promises, and we're going to close with a few of these promises, and we're going to be done today. John 10:10, and we all know that one. He says, if you come to Him, you'll have life and have it abundantly. No idol can promise abundant life. Every other pursuit that promises an abundant life is a mirage. And when you get there, there is no there really there. You're tricked into it. But when God is first, when Christ is first, He says, I offer you a life that's abundant. Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, come to me, everybody who's heavy laden, who's weary, who's under the law. And He says, I promise to give you rest to your soul. Let me ask you today, what idol can give you rest?